Utah, give me 2.
Hey, it's a Palazzo Podcast. Greetings. Thanks for watching us live here on YouTube or listening to the podcast version in audio form. We're grateful for however you consume the show. The downloads are growing, and the subscribers on YouTube are creeping up. We're getting close to 300. If we can get a few of you guys to share it around or double check if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel or not, we'll get up to 300 subs, and that'd be pretty cool. I'm here with Christopher Deary, of course, my co-host. Christopher Deary, it's Friday. It's 4 o'clock. We've had a couple postponements today, but we got a lot of excitement. We got another big-time call-up today. Mr. Lewis himself is coming up tonight. Live, the number 1 overall pick for 2017 of the Minnesota Twins will be taking over for Carlos Correa, who has an injury. What do you think?
Yeah, this is big news for Minnesota. I mean, Correa goes down with this finger injury, and Lewis, we haven't seen him up in the majors yet. Drafted back in 2017, and, they've taken their time with him. I think he's only 21, 22 years old. He's off to a pretty nice start down there in AAA. He got 8 stolen bases, got a couple home runs, nice walk rate. He's going to be a must-add in a lot of leagues, especially if he's going to get a good amount of run. We'll see how long Correa is out, but it's always fun when you get these big-time prospects that finally come up, and everybody's scrambling to try to add them, and hopefully they can produce for your teams.
Yeah, that's always the miracle here. I'm a huge Royce Lewis fan. I know he's incredibly talented. He has a ton to offer. And a lot of people were hitting me up on Twitter asking me, hey, would you rather have Royce Lewis or Yuli Gurriel? Would you rather have Royce Lewis or so-and-so? And the thing is, it's possible that he struggles. It doesn't go his way right away. It'll be a challenge. Gaining that confidence early on in the major leagues is no easy task.
His confidence is shattered.
And eventually, when that happens, you might find yourself back at AAA. But Royce Lewis has all of the tools. The 5-tool dude, he truly is. And he's stolen bags in minor leagues as well. And this was in response to what a lot of people were worried about with the 2 ACLs. 2 ACL tears. That's a real tough stretch for him. But he's shown that the speed's there. And there's no reason to think that he cannot be an impact talent. With him and Jose Miranda there, the other call-up, it's going to be a big weekend of fab bids, and in some of your leagues already that are daily leagues and daily waiver wire pickups, you may have already spent money or put in a waiver claim on Miranda, Lewis, Juan Yepez of the Cardinals came up this week, MJ Melendez of the Royals, a catching prospect, he's also here too. There are so many guys right now. I thought last year there was some excitement about some new blood, but this is even more impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's more coming too. It's just, what you had talked about and I talked about is, sometimes there's struggles right when they come up. I mean, sometimes there's struggle over 400 at bats. Look at Jared Kelenic, who was, a hot prospect, came up last year and was no good. He's no good this year. And then you look at a guy like Julio Rodriguez, came up, struggled at the start, is still struggling with strikeouts, but he's got 9 stolen bases. I think he's hit safely in like 8 or 9 games. So he at least you've been able to hold on to most of this time. Kelenic, I think, is getting dropped all over the place. A lot of people are talking about Kyle Lewis coming up as he's just been activated. We'll see if he comes up and Kelenic goes back down. But
he'll be a couple of weeks. Yeah, Lewis apparently is going to do the spring training version. Jerry Dipoto, GM of the Mariners, said we're going to let him play like a couple weeks, it looks like, so he can get ready before he comes up. So Kelenic might not leave just yet, but you're right. The writing is on the wall for Kelenic. It was also for Juan Yepez of the Cardinals, who I really, really like. He was a huge Arizona Fall League star recently, and he can hit. He can't play defense at all, but the boy can hit. The man can hit. He can hit the shit out of the ball. He had 9 home runs at AAA in Memphis. They brought him up, and he started in 2 straight games. I watched him last night in the game against the Giants that the Cardinals had, where, he just puts the ball in play. He had a base hit single to right. It was a grounder. It was a worm burner, but he put it through the hole, Apo Taco. So he has the ability to go to all fields, and he hasn't shown the power yet. It's only been 2 games. But the fact that he started both times, that is what I like to see. And I'm really hopeful that will be a blessing for him, because Albert Pujols got to go, dude. Albert Pujols can't.
Why is this going?
Can you really play Albert Pujols this whole season and say, well, we just can't play Juan Yepez because we want to play Pujols for 1 full season of a farewell? It sounds so absurd when you say it like that.
Yeah, especially for the Cardinals that are going to go out and try to win this division. I mean, it's pretty cool if you're a Cardinals fan to see, Pujols come back. So, first half of his career there and he's back. But this is the farewell tour. put him on his Kareem Abdul-Jabbar motorcycle and send him on his way, man. He doesn't need to accomplish anything else. He's gotten to 600 home runs, 3,000 hits. Not going to get that career average up to 300. So I don't know. Maybe he'll stick around and maybe they can win a championship with him. But you can't play him. You just can't, especially when these exciting guys come up like a Juan Yepez. And, if you're going to bring up top prospects like this, you want to give them everyday playing time. Or else there's no reason to have them up. Keep them down to the minors where they can play every day, or else there's really no reason to have these guys up. So we want to see these guys come up and play.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And this is one of the issues here is you can't have a farewell season if you're already at best average player. He's not even an average player. I'll have to double check his WRC plus to find out officially, but I don't think that he has been an average player. He's hit some home runs here or there last year for the Dodgers. We thought it was over when the Angels come loose and the Dodgers kept him on the roster all year. Yeah. And now here he is with the Cardinals still. I just can't believe it. Albert Pujols, I have no beef with you. You're just done. When you're done, you're done. And if you're the Cardinals, you're in a transitional stage here. I don't know why you would go back to the well with Pujols when you got guys like Dylan Carlson now who could actually be the other at-risk player. People are looking at Pujols, Deary, but Dylan Carlson has not been hitting the ball well. His stats are really crappy, and he's actually in jeopardy of being sent down if he doesn't get it together. So that's the other option. If they don't drop Pujols, it's Carlson who loses out, and that's not going to be happy news for a lot of people who roster Carlson.
Yeah, Pujols has appeared in, it looks like about half of their games. Got 44 plate appearances, 2 home runs, but he's not getting the playing time. It's 225 average. He's a liability. Wow, dude. Into the field. He can't run at all. He hasn't been able to run for 15 years now. Mm-hmm. Obviously with the DH, that's probably where he sticks in. I don't think he'd be playing at all this year if there wasn't a DH in the National League. I don't think anyone else is bringing him back, but we're kind of going through the same thing with Miguel Cabrera right now. I know Cabrera had 3 hits last night, but what's it going to be like next year for Cabrera? He's gotten to his 500 home runs. He's gotten to his 3,000 hits. He just tied K-Line last night for hits. I think he passed K-Line, but we're going to be
Wade Boggs is next. Woo!
He's going to pass 4 or 5 guys this year, and then it's I wish he'd turn it up. We're going to have him again next year, and he's batting in the middle of this lineup.
Wow. So this episode is called Too Soon, and the focus will be on adding, dropping, trading, stashing. Is it too soon for several of these players with all of these different avenues that you can go with your roster? Dropping, trading, stashing, selling high. Is it all too soon? I don't know. We're going to leave that up to all of you guys to decide, but we will give you some of our opinions because it is May and we're doing our thing. It's gonna be May. Well, it's actually May now, so that's the last time I can play that drop. That drop is over. I'm saying goodbye to it. But that's today's show. That's what we're going to focus on. And I put Rowdy Tellez on the cover of this too. So will we talk about Rowdy? I don't know. That's why you guys stay tuned. Watch the show, listen to the show. 5-star review at Apple Podcasts. You know the deal. If you've never heard a podcast in your life, you've never been involved in any type of entertainment, if this is the first time you've ever watched a YouTube video in your life, welcome. What a unique moment it is for them, Deary. Isn't this cool?
Yeah, this is what we look like.
Oh, man.
The bald man and the bozo. Guy's turning 42 in a couple months.
That's right. 2 bozos, 1 destiny. But yeah, so if this is your first video ever, welcome to the show. You can like it and you can subscribe and you can click the dingy bell so we'll notify you whenever we have a show. We just had the prospect show the other day. We had Benjamin Chase on, who's been killing it. Benjamin Chase knows prospects like he's very, very underrated, extremely undervalued and underappreciated in the biz. I'd never really heard much from Ben until Phil Goyette kind of introduced us. And this dude, man, he's got so much knowledge. He really could work for a team as an amateur scout. He's filled with it. Particularly knows a lot about the Twins and the Braves. But he could talk about any prospect. He does his own daily prospect update where he highlights one hitter and one pitcher who had a great night from anywhere in minor league baseball every day. So please follow Benjamin Chase at Big Gentle Ben on Twitter. Big Gentle Ben. He's really valuable. And if you want to take it up a notch, he's been getting really active in the Palazzo Podcast Discord. 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Give me 2.
The Discord is on fire. And I've had some isn't it?
It's crazy. There are times where I have to turn off my notifications because it's just going constantly. And every
It
few
is.
nights I'll check into the chatter, but there's so many different channels and there's so much going on, which I love it, man. It's like the community that we've always wanted to have, and everybody's getting in there talking about dynasty stuff, head-to-head stuff, the whole gambit, not just Roto, because I feel like a lot of podcasts out there and a lot of other places talk a ton about Roto, but we know a lot of people that listen to our show also play head-to-head, also play points league. So it's great to talk about those different things. And Ben, a guy that knows a ton about prospects. I mean, it's hard enough keeping up with the 600 players that are in Major League Baseball when you got guys like Phil and Ben and our guy Raj Castillo that focuses mainly on minor leagues with the Tigers. It's amazing to have guys like that in the community because they can give you so much information.
It really is impressive. Yeah, we've really got something good. We're almost up to 100 members in the Discord, and it's free, totally free. So if you want the Discord link, go to the Palazzo Podcast Twitter handle. It's at the very top. 2 L's, 2 Z's, Palazzo Podcast.
Give me 2.
You can see the link for that and the Patreon. If you want to take it up even further and contribute in any way, that would be great. You don't have to do that. It's more about building that Discord because we got so many people. Forget me and Deary. There's all these other people who know so much about the game, and they're just regular folks. They don't have their own podcast necessarily, their own platform. They just love playing the game, and they love talking about moves and giving advice, and they know as much as anybody else in this analysis game. So, strong recommend on the Palazzo Podcast Discord. It's making a difference. Also, I was on the Sleeper on the Bus last Saturday with Paul Sporer. If you'd like to go check that out, you can hear me and Paul talk about fantasy baseball. The Sleeper in the Bus speaks for itself. It's one of the biggest, well-known podcasts in the game. So, thanks to Paul for having me on, and it was a good discussion. And if you like the good discussions, then check out the Sleeper in the Bus episode. So, is that it? Did I cover all the details there? Is that correct?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yay! Okay, good. So let's hit up a few other business items as well. Richard Sands, who is the reigning Palazzo Podcast Invitational Champion, which not going very well for me right now either. We'll talk about that. But he is killing it. With his writing, though, not his fantasy
not his
performance.
Team, not his Palazzo Podcast team this year.
Yeah,
very humble about it.
Very humble, so humble that he wrote an article about it. So it's called "How I Win from First to Last in the Palazzo Podcast Invitational," and it's available on Baseball Pod's website. So if you want to check it out, I'll drop the link in here. You can also find the link in the Discord. Also posted it on the Twitter. It's not going to be hard to find. Richard Sands. Follow Richard on Twitter at the Richard Sands. It's a great article, very honest article about the Palazzo Podcast Invitational, which is a 15-team draft and hold, do or die, 50 rounds. Your roster is your roster. So if you have injuries, you're pretty much screwed, right, Deary? There's just nothing you can do. You're stuck with what you got.
Yeah, I mean, last year I learned a valuable lesson. I drafted guys that, either were out for the year, got suspended for the year. Richard talks about getting Bauer, who obviously now is suspended for 2 years. And, those drafting holds, it's 50 players that you're drafting, but, I mean, you can't make pickups. There's no fab in this. So you could certainly lose a big chunk of your roster if guys go down, if guys don't ever get called up because you're thinking about prospects, guys that get suspended. So he takes his blows in the article and talks about some of the ways that, he didn't maybe make the right picks. I feel like we waited a decent amount of time. We drafted about a month before the season. It's not like we drafted in January or December like a lot of other leagues, but it's a great article, and check it out if you have time.
Absolutely. Shout out to Richard Sands. We love you, dude. You've always been a big supporter of the show, and I love what the Sands Report is. That's another thing Richard does. He's big into old school radio. He's worked in radio forever. He knows the game, and he writes something called the Sands Report, which you can subscribe to. Contact Richard on Twitter at the Richard Sands, and you'll find out more about that. The guy knows what he's doing, and he's got a good sensibility. He's my kind of writer. So there, that's all I have to say about that. Of course, 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We really need to grow the show. So if you've never given the show a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, please do both or try one of them if you can. Pretty please. That would be very, very beneficial to the show. Thank you so much. Please, 5-star review, Apple and Spotify. Okay. Well, having said that, let's get into leading off. Yay! All right, so in leading off, Joe Adell was sent down, Deary. It's very sad. There is no more Joe Adell. He's gone. So for catch of the day,
Our first catch of the day.
I want to talk about Taylor Ward. Taylor Ward is one of the reasons why there is no Joe Adell anymore. He's crushing it. He's hitting the shit out of the ball. Dominant performances. He's got to cool off at some point, but he's hitting home runs at pinch hit. He showed up. He beat a pinch hit home run the other night against the Red Sox. So whether he doesn't start or he comes off the bench, Taylor Ward is making things happen, and Brendan Marsh has been solid enough. Joe Adell was the odd man out. So this is all because of Taylor Ward, who I am absolutely in on. It's not a fluke. I looked at his numbers from last year, and it was very impressive. It was a smaller sample. It's about 65 games, I believe. But still, his walk rate is there. The plate discipline skills are legit. The power seems to be legit. And I feel bad. I feel like I missed the boat. I had no idea. I didn't hear a lot of talk about Taylor Ward, to be honest with you. I'm not saying nobody didn't talk about him, but he is the real deal.
There's those guys every year that a couple weeks into the season, they end up being that high fab bid. Look at Yerman Mercedes last year, if everybody remembers him. About 3-4 weeks ago, a lot of pickups started happening for Taylor Ward because they saw that he was getting the playing time, and he's continued to get the playing time. And when you're batting in front of Ohtani and Trout and Rendon, the top of that order, like, your counting stats are going to be unreal. And he has not slowed down. I don't think this is a fluke. Obviously, Adell is the guy out right now, but they got to get Adell some at bats. So get him down in the minors, get him full at bats. He wasn't playing against lefties up here anyways. So it's been really good that the Angels have kind of found their guy who can be out there in the outfield for them. Adell was the big time prospect, but this tends to happen every year where you get the guy who's not the big time prospect, and Taylor Ward has been huge. And a lot of people that have been able to scoop him up in fab leagues or in waiver leagues have really been reaping the benefits here over the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, dude. I love this guy. I'm totally in love. Anybody who has Taylor Ward in your roster, congratulations to you. By the way, Battlecats fan here on Twitch. We are on Twitch. We always broadcast live. YouTube is what we push, but we do have a Twitch channel. We don't really talk about it much, but this show is always available on that Twitch channel. Plaza Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. He says, yo, the cheese podcast. I can't believe all of you are attracted to the cheese, LOL. Yeah, hey. Deary, I love cheese. I've always loved cheese. There's so many different flavors of cheese. I could dedicate the rest of my life just eating cheese, and I'd be just fine. I would.
We have a cheese drawer up in our fridge, and it's just filled with all types of different cheeses.
There we go.
Genius, cheeses, even those old shitty like Americans, like Kraft American slices.
Oh God!
But it's the best cheese to put on a burger because it melts so well. But yeah, we got some funky cheeses up there. We got your shredded cheeses. We got all, man. I'll eat cheese forever.
Wow, dude.
Hey, Battlecats fan, I know you're making fun of us because we're cheesy is what you're saying. We're not morons, but hey, we're going to be who we are. We're grateful to be alive. We love doing this show. We got a good community. And Battlecats fan, you need to get into that Discord. Plaza Podcast Twitter handle, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Get over in there, bro. You know you want to be a part of this thing. And also, Deary, this is Mike Gaynor. He says, Josh, question mark? Do you know Mike Gaynor?
I do not. Who's Mike Gaynor?
I know exactly who this is. This is a pen name of a very good friend of ours. So good to see you in here, Mike. I haven't seen you in here. We don't.
Any hints here?
Oh yeah, he lives in Grand Rapids, so you know who he is. Okay. That's him. Good to see you in here, Mike. We don't see you very often. Buddy. We miss you. We love you, buddy. That's right. Okay, so that's the catch of the day. Taylor Ward, he is God. Rowdy Tellez, I'll mention real quickly. Also deserves to be mentioned. He crushed it, set a Brewers record with 8 RBI against the lowly Reds. I blew it. In my main event league, I had Tellez on the bench, and all those stats will not be compiled on my 2022 main event team. It hurts, Deary. It's painful. It makes me feel bad. I'm not proud of it, but it is the truth. I started Owen Miller, who's fine. Owen Miller's a solid player. It's not like I was, but I should have known the Reds suck. The Reds are so bad.
Are they going to win 20 games? They're 3-22. I've never seen anything like that. It's nuts.
Thanks, buddies. Happy to see you live. You guys are great. Well, we love you too, Mike. Thank you. Yeah, the Reds are trash. Rowdy Tellez, he's not going to hit 300 or anything. He's not a very good player for average, but 30 home runs in this roster, he's already off to a hot start. It's easily going to be attainable as long as he stays healthy. He'll have cold streaks. He'll chill out, but he's crushing the ball. I have no reason to doubt what Tellez is doing. He's all of that in a bag of chips. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. And this is going to really be the first time where he's going to play plus 140 games. He started in 25 games at first base over there for the Brewers. And what I really like about him is he's hitting left-handers just as good as right-handers. So this is a power-hitting left-handed first baseman who's been able to hold his own against lefties. So sure, he will have his lulls like everybody else does. He's not going to hit 300. He's batting 275 right now. That may come down a little bit, but 30 home runs is certainly doable. And I don't know how many guys are going to hit 30 home runs this year based on, the start we've had this spring.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. The ball is so dead. It's so obvious. I'm not going to go through the details of the data right now because I don't care to, but eye test says it all. There's just no power. The Tigers, speaking of the Tigers, they're terrible, right? They're so bad, but
Go Tigers.
They can't hit home runs. They're dead last in MLB in home runs. And they don't have any offensive firepower.
They can't do anything. It's like every game, it's a struggle to get to 2 runs. And it's like, you're not winning with 2 runs.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm with you all the way. By the way, Brian K. Rogers was here. Friday afternoon show was great. We love you, Brian. Good to see you here, as always. And everybody else with the Discord who I talk to every day if you're in here. Hey, everybody in the Discord, you guys are picking me up. I got some personal bullshit going on in my life. It's always a challenge. It's been going on for 5 to 6 months, and it just will never end. So the fact that you guys can step in and offer advice to people and keep the flow of the chat going means a lot. You guys are the best, seriously. And I mean that with all sincerity, because usually I don't speak with sincerity. So I'm going to speak with sincerity for just a moment, okay? All right, so Rowdy Tellez is good. We all know that. And I will never, ever bench him again. I will never bench you ever again, Rowdy. I promise. Let's talk a weekly update on Glarf, Deary. So you and I are in Glarf, the Great Lakes Area Roto Fantasy League, which is a part of Earth, the overall massive regional, sub-regional leagues under Earth, right? And this is your first season in Glarf. So how are you feeling right now about your Glarf situation?
I'm doing all right. I'm, hanging around middle of the pack. I'm in 5th place right now.
Good.
Right middle of the road with most of my statistics. Some of them are a little closer. My hitters seem to be doing a little better than my pitchers. What's really killed me, and it's why I'm probably not going to win Glarf, is I have 4 saves and 5 stolen bases, which is good for last in the league in both of those. So it's actually amazing that I am residing in 5th place in Glarf right now. But yeah, those 2 categories I've completely missed the boat on. And, I was intentional in almost all of my drafts to find guys that could give you like 7 to 10 stolen bases. But when you're not getting anything from the likes of, Gleyber Torres, who doesn't even play every day, that's certainly going to hurt you. So
he's hit some home runs. He's got like 2 home runs his last 5 games.
Picked up Raimel Tapia a few weeks ago. Hopefully that he can maybe give me some. He hasn't gotten me any yet. Sheldon Noisey's given me a couple, but it's been a real struggle with that. And then, with saves, I just didn't focus on saves. I got Camilo Doval. And then Joe Barlow. Those are really the only guys that I drafted at all, and I'm not getting anything from those guys. Barlow's got 2 saves, and I think
Barlow's gotten 2 though over the last 4 or 5 days. Though he's starting to get some opportunities. Yeah, I wish I would have picked him up in another league. I got outbid. So.
Okay, yeah. So that's been a struggle. Jose Barrios has not been what I would have expected.
Oh yeah,
I thought he's more of a end of the SP1 era of guys, but man, he's been terrible. He was poor again last night. Verlander's been great for me. Patrick Sandoval's been good. Skubal's never going to get a win for the Tigers, but he's been pretty good. Chris Flexen, I think, has 3 consecutive quality starts. Guys like Tony Gonsolin. I picked up Mad Bum to start this week, and then what happens? He gets tossed after the umpires eyeing him down for a good 5 minutes. That was creepy.
Yeah, he's got poopy fingers.
That was weird.
It was weird. That was a very strange exchange. I agree.
Mike, let's talk about your Glarf experience.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, it's going pretty well right now.
You think? You are running.
Shout out to all the Glarf mates.
You are running.
I am.
You are in.
Am I number 1 overall right now? Let's see. Yeah, I think
you're number 1 in Earth.
Number 1 in Earth right now.
You have a healthy lead in Glarf and a pretty healthy lead overall as well.
Yeah, these are the standings for Glarf in our league. And you see Deary's 5th. That's rock solid. Deary, I was first for a long time, like the first 3 months of the season. I ended up finishing 3rd or 4th. So you just never know. And I really try not to put a lot of stock in these. It's just an update for the fans, for everybody in the community here to kind of pop in and see how Glarf is going. I'm in first. Dave McDonald's in second. Dave won it last year. He won the whole thing, the overall Earth last year. Jenny Butler in third. And Cliff Gannett is in fourth with Christopher Deary rounding out the top 5. So who's in last? Dougie Roth by guy from Chicago. Shout out to you, Doug. Hey, just because you're last now doesn't mean you'll be last later. But if you look where the stats break down right now, the leader in runs has 168. That's Dave. The leader for Ks is 219. That's Fish. Good old John Fish. And then Mike Carter leads the league with 16 wins. And the home run pace is 49. That's Dave as well. Deary, you're second with 42. And I'm giving you guys just a taste of like, hey, what are the leaders looking like right now for roto leagues and individual standings? So this is why I'm sharing this. 19 saves leads the pack. That's Max Freeze, 19 saves. 169 RBI. That's less than Dave once again. And ERA, the leader is at 263. That is Adam Howe, first-year Glarfer. And my stolen bases, I'm tied with Max Freeze for first with 23 steals apiece. Deary mentioned he's got 5. Deary, don't worry, though. I'm dead last in my main event in steals. I have, coming into 2 days ago, I had 4 steals on the season. So
I got 5.
Yeah, so I feel you. Trust me, I get it. And then my team's hitting 279, which is ridiculous because the next closest is Deary. Deary's in second. He's hitting 265. Wow. So that's pretty wild. I'm not going to have a 280 batting average all season, but that is clearly giving me a bump at this moment. So there you go. There's a little taste of what's going on with Glarf. And if you love Glarf, you want to find out more about it, DM us, hit up the Plaza Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. We'll tell you more about how it works, but it's simply just a 15-team roto league. Like we said, it's a subset of Earth. And who is JT on Twitter? JT the Ginger? I don't know if he calls himself that exactly or not, but he keeps up the Earth standings and he posts them every week. So if you want to find out who's number 1 in Earth and keep track of it, I would recommend following JT, who's a fine lad. That's at JT_the Ginger. JT_the Ginger. He's a really solid dude who loves soda. He's big on soda. So there you go.
Soda?
He loves his big gulps. It's a stupid inside joke. Sorry. Jamie says Lewis was 0% rostered last night when I picked him up. Now he's 18% rostered. That's a quick turnaround. Mm-hmm. So do we know Correa's going on the IL yet? Correa broke his finger and Lewis got called up. He's going to go on the IL, right, Deary?
Yeah, there's no other reason to bring him up because there needs to be a roster spot for him. So I don't think anything's been announced on Correa, but I mean, it was pretty much already talked about last night that it was pretty much a broken finger, and that was the chatter of Twitter last night. Is pick up Royce Lewis. Yeah,
it's a done deal. Jamie, get it done. Govier, leader of Earth. Technically, that's true. That is technically true. You're right. Thank you, Jared. Jared, by the way, has been killing it. Shout out to Jared. He might be the most active guy in the Discord. I know that recently Ben's giving him a run for his money, but damn, you're killing it, Jared. Okay, so let's play a quick game of Name That Runner-Up Fab Bid. It's time to play the most ridiculous and pointless game that is sweeping the nation. That's right. It's time for Name That Runner-Up Fab Bid. All right. So, Deary, you know how the game is played. We provide the fab bid, and the other person has to guess what was the runner-up bid. Would you like to start, Deary, or you want me to go first?
Go ahead. I'm bringing mine up right now.
Okay. Well, let's keep it in Glarf. Well, actually, no, you'll know the Glarf. I can't do that because then you might already know the answers, right? That's cheating.
No, you can bring. I don't have that page up. I have my TGFBI up, so.
Oh, great, cool. Okay, then let's go to Glarf because
you could probably ask me what my bids were, and I still wouldn't know.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go to Glarf. This past weekend, last Sunday, a pretty light week for Glarf overall in terms of fab bids and additions. Excuse me. The highest bid of the week, by the way, was $42 for any player. So that tells you there was no massive bids. And that was me on Josh Rojas. I bid $42. So let's go to Kevin Smith of the Oakland Athletics was picked up for $28, Deary. Kevin Smith came off the IL. He hit a grand slam this week, so that was a nice pickup by the Cleveland Dust Mites. Well done, guys. $28 was the winning bid. What was the runner-up fab bid for Kevin Smith?
Oh, by the way, I think I had the runner-up for Rojas because I saw he was coming off the DL, and I was like, oh, this guy might be able to steal bases. So thanks for sniping me on him. What did you say for...
$28 for Kevin Smith. Not the director of Mallrats and Dogma.
Let's go 16.
I enjoy.
16.
Actual retail price was Wow, what? Did you hit it?
Did I? I did not look at it either. I did not look at it.
Wow.
That's my first ever.
Wow, dude.
You did it, dude. That's incredible.
I've never
You finally did it. On the nose. That's fucking amazing. Great job.
All right.
16 is absolutely correct. Everybody, pause and just really take this moment in because it doesn't happen every day. This is a special moment. Well done, Deary. Well done. All right. What do you got for me?
Let's go top winning bid in my TGFBI league, which I'm just terrible in this year. Like all of my leagues on NFBC have been pretty good. Battle the Podcast, I'm in first. Raz Slam, I'm in second. Palazzo, I'm in sixth.
Wow.
So middle of the road, but 13th in TGFBI. Long season. That's all I got to remind myself. But the winning bid in TGFBI, Sheldon Noisy, who's been a nice hot start off here for Oakland. I've picked him up in several leagues. Got a couple home runs. I think he's got 3 or 4 steals. Winning bid was $104 out of a $1,000 budget. What is the runner-up bid?
$104 for Sheldon Noisy?
No.
Wow. Let's see. $104. I'm going to say the runner-up bid on Sheldon Noisy was $82.
Ooh, not bad. 75 was the runner-up bid. Not bad.
75. Crap.
Humiliations galore.
Damn it. Okay. Well, I got close. Let's do one more round. How about my main event, where the highest bid of the week in my main event last Sunday was $322. Woo! That was actually for Anthony Bender. $322.
He blew another
Deary,
save the other day.
yeah, well, he came in last night and he wasn't even in a save situation. He pitched 2/3 of an innings. He walked a guy, but he got out of a jam. Anthony Bender went for $322 in the main event last Sunday night. Deary, what was the runner-up fab bid for Anthony Bender of $322? What was
this
the
is
runner-up
tough
bid?
because I feel like in the main event, some of these do get massively inflated. I really don't think anybody else went above like 250. I think this is a big reach here. I'm going to go with 195.
195.
My brother, it's always business, never personal.
That's right. It was just business. The actual runner-up bid was $222. Not bad, Deary. That's tight. That's a big, big gap, and you were within the range. $222, and that was my bid. So I actually feel, in a way, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Like when I lost a bid, I'm like, oh.
I think you should be glad. There's a lot of rumblings that when Dylan Floro comes back, that maybe they give him the shot.
Or Max Meyer comes up and maybe he closes at some point if they want to limit his innings. Who knows?
Yeah, they
got a lot of options.
A lot of people are saying we might see Meyer here in the next couple of weeks.
Yep. Somebody asked me, by the way, the Redditors. Hey, Fantasy Baseball Redditors. If you're new to the show and you found me through the Anything Goes thread, which I've been a part of for like the last week or two, I've been popping in on the Anything Goes thread under the Fantasy Baseball subreddit. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. And some of the advice I've been offering on the questions, I've been killing it. I said Zach Plesac would suck, and he sucked. And some guy asked me about Jared Walsh and Ryan Mountcastle. Should he drop them or hang on to them like 5 days ago? Mm-hmm. And I said, the underlying peripherals look good. Don't bail yet. And they both had killer weeks. Mountcastle just had a double dong game. So
he did, yeah.
Fantasy Baseball Reddit, you can trust me. I'm on your side. I just want to put a little shout out for them because shout out to you guys. There you go. I never talk about the Redditors. That's like a new thing. Everybody seems to be on that Fantasy Baseball Reddit, and we're not. So I figured we needed to have a presence. Let's get a presence on there. But yeah, Max Meyer was another guy I mentioned on the subreddit that I said within 2 weeks he would get called up. This was about 3 days ago. So I'm expecting him to be up here very soon, though I don't know that officially. But Craig Mish, who's like one of the best Marlins reporters, said that he should be the next guy up.
Awesome.
You could trust him.
I just scooped him up a couple days ago, mainly from a lot of guys that we know on Twitter. They're saying, hey, Max Meyer time could be here. I mean, the guy, big time prospect. He's looked really good here over the last, month and a half. And hopefully we get to see him up for the M's.
Absolutely.
That is a noble cause.
Okay, let's move into next. What's next on this docket here on the rundown? Oh, it's bye. That's right. It's time to say goodbye to some players. And one of them we already mentioned, Deary, was the aforementioned Joe Adell. So I don't know if we really need to cover that anymore, right? Because it's been done. So
yeah,
what else can we say about Joe Adell?
I mean, you're holding on to him in most dynasty leagues. I think he's probably droppable in any other redraft league, unless you do have minor league spots, NA spots where maybe you could keep him. Because I think we will see him again this year. I mean, there's no way that the Angels will go the whole year without an injury in the outfield, and it's very well a big chance that Brandon Marsh completely falls apart too. I mean, he had a home run yesterday, but before that, he had been 0 for his last 18. So I think we'll see Adell again, but hopefully, he can get it together down there in AAA.
Adell's got to get traded, dude. I don't think he comes back up here. I think he gets traded at some point. There's just no room for him. There's no spot. There could be an injury, I guess, and they might give him another chance, but it's just strong trade vibes here. Strong trade vibes.
Interesting take.
The next one is, by the way, and so many things to mention. Christ. I do the Fantasy Baseball Confidential. I should have mentioned this in the business time. I'm very scatterbrained today. Please forgive me, everybody. My life is chaos, and I admit it freely, and I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm better than this. I can do better. So if you're watching the show or hearing it for the first time, just know that I can do better. But I mentioned in the Fantasy Baseball Confidential, which I write, comes out every Monday on fantraxhq.com, and I cover a ton of stuff. Everything from the week that was to the week that is coming, and then just like random player notes and musings. And I said that Joe Adell would need a trade or an injury to really get back in the fold. So I'm standing behind that, and I just want to make sure that people know I didn't just come up with that off the fly. I've been saying that for at least a week or more. But Matt Brash, Deary. Matt Brash, he's not gone, but he's shifting to a new role in the bullpen. How do you feel about Matt Brash now moving into the bullpen for the Mariners, where you would assume it would be a boost to his value because he wouldn't have as many walks? But that's also bad news for a reliever if you walk too many guys.
Yeah, it's really interesting that this is the course they're going to take with him. His first 2 starts against the White Sox and the Astros, he looked really good. 6 strikeouts, 5 strikeouts, went 5 1/3 in both of those games, only gave up a couple runs, and he was a hot pickup, a guy that could strike people out, and he has not looked too good here in his last 3 starts. He's given up, let's see here, 4 runs, 6 runs, 3 runs. The walks have been there. He walked 4, 2, and 4. He also, that game against Houston where he struck out 5, he walked 6 guys. So his location and his control has not been great. And he's also not striking a ton of guys out. I think I would have rather seen him, maybe go back down to the minors and get more, longevity down there. But it's a really interesting take that the Mariners are going to say, hey, let's throw you in the bullpen. Maybe you can figure it out there. I mean, it's a good way to kind of limit his innings as well. But it's got to be frustrating to have a guy that you scooped up to be a starting pitcher, and now he's getting moved to the bullpen. And I don't think he's a guy that over his career in the minors really ever came out of the bullpen. So interesting. Obviously, the Mariners feel like he's good enough to keep on the roster right now, and now he's going to come out of the bullpen.
And you want me to change? Fuck you!
Yeah, I don't know if Matt Brash is going to change. I mean, he's still – walks are his big problem, and command and control, maybe – he'll feel less pressure. Maybe there was a bit of, maybe sometimes a guy needs a different role and it takes the pressure off a little bit mentally. Yeah. Sometimes you just need a new perspective, right? You gotta switch it up. You gotta change a pace. You want to spin it into a new situation, even though it's the same old situation and you're still the same person, right? I mean, it's still the same.
Spin it.
But I gotta tell you, it's worth a shot. But with so many relievers, if you're expecting a guy to be a closer, Matt Brash, I don't think he'll overtake the closer's role because there's just too many damn arms that are really good in that pen.
Yeah, and you can't give that to a rookie either.
Well, I mean, Munoz had a save or two. They gave Andres Munoz, he's back, he's healthy. They gave him a couple opportunities, but also Mariners, I read this last night. They have 3 saves on the season. They haven't had a lot of opportunities. They're actually struggling a bit here. They need to play better ball. They're supposed to make the playoffs this year. That is on the line. There's no more fucking around.
Yeah, it's weird. They got these games where they'll score like 8-9 runs and then they'll just get like shut out and not do anything. I think they won last. Did they win last night? No, I think they lost to Tampa.
No, they lost that game to the Rays, 4-3. Yeah. Mike Zunino.
Oh, he hit that home run off
3-run bomb.
Yeah, because I was going.
Yeah, that was the only mistake.
Yeah.
One mistake cost him a 3-run bomb.
Boom.
So that's unfortunate. But yeah, Brash, he's still around, but he's not. We're also saying possibly bye to Jared Kelenic. We mentioned that earlier. I stick with what I heard from Jerry DiPoto's mouth. I trust him. He seems to know what he's doing. I mean, he traded for Jared Kelenic. He wants it to work out, but it's not. And Kelenic is just dreadful right now. So he might get the plug pulled from him, but I still think he's going to get a couple more games, a week or so here until Kyle Lewis comes back in 2 weeks or so, right?
Yeah, it's like Kelenic either strikes out, he stings the ball directly to the right fielder, or he hits a dribbler on the infield. Those are like his 3 outcomes. He's a 37% strikeout rate. Every single time he comes up, I'm like, okay, here's a strikeout. Here's a strikeout. Here's a strikeout.
Here's a strikeout. Here's a strikeout. Here's a strikeout. I like that. We need a drop that says that. Here's a strikeout. Here's a strikeout. Here's a strikeout.
Child, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, yeah, anybody else who's taken off injury-wise? I don't think there's any other big news. We'd like to cover the big hits here, but, you guys, if you're on the Palazzo Podcast Discord, which I can go to the Discord channel right now that says Injury Tent, and it tells everything you need to know. Cole Irvin is gone. Bye. Cole Irvin's not going to make a start this weekend. He's going to go to the injured list. Bye, Cole Irvin. We'll miss you. You're a good man and thorough. Cole Irvin has upped his velocity this year, Deary. He's been an intriguing player, but now that he's on the IL, there's not really much he can offer you at this time.
Yeah, I think I got him in one league. I think I actually have him in Glarf, either Glarf or Palazzo. And a couple of weeks ago, you were like, oh, yeah, your pitching staff looks good besides Cole Irvin. And then he had like 2 really good starts over the next
Yeah, what the fuck do I know?
Now he's on the shelf. He's someone who, I mean, it's got to be easy when you're pitching at home and there's 1,000 people watching. So,
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's a shoulder issue. I don't know if it's that serious or not. We got to find out more about that. Kiki Hernandez is going to go on the COVID IL, so he's gone. There's like 10,000 Reds. Hunter Green is gone. He's back to AAA.
I know velocity has been down and he hasn't looked that spectacular. I mean, what's the point of having him up? Like, do you want to, like, I'd probably rather play for a AAA team that could probably beat the major league team.
Did you see his stat line against the Brewers?
Remind me. I'm sure.
Well, he gave up 7 earned runs, right?
Yeah.
But he struck out 7 guys.
That's fun.
In 2 2/3 innings. I don't know if he's going to go down or not officially. I haven't seen the news on that, but there is talk that maybe it's best for Hunter Green to hit the skids and go back to AAA, right? But I think they should keep him up. I just think they should let him grind. The team sucks anyways. Just let him work it out up here. They got nothing to play for.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, are you going to be pissed that the guy ends the season with the ERA north of 6? No, I mean, he's got to figure out what it's like at the major league level anyways, and he's going to have some starts where he probably strikes out double-digit guys. There could be starts where he has like double-digit walks, but
that's true.
For the Reds, what's the point? I mean, just play him. It's just tough to own him in fantasy. I mean, if you're in a K per 9 league, I mean, he's someone you're certainly zeroing in on who, he could strike out 9-10 guys in just 4 or 5 innings, but he's never going to get a win if you're in a league where he actually has one. He has 1 win. He has one of the Reds' wins. He's 1-4.
Wow. Well, we're not trying to bum you out, Hunter Green. We're just trying to be constructive criticism here.
We're going to get all in your face and point out your faults.
But it sucks when your team sucks and you just feel there's a sense of dread. It kind of overcomes a team. Dear, you've been on teams where a team sucks and it's like takes over everything. I mean, we've never been on a major league roster, but we played competitive sports here and there. Where it's like, this team's just, it doesn't have that same effect, the same excitement, the same buzz as a team that's at least fighting for a playoff spot or something like that.
Yeah. It sucks the fun out of it all.
You suck the fun out of it. So, Hunter Green, we hope that you get to stay up and work it out, but there's no guarantees. A quick question here from Jamie. Drop Lou Trevino to keep Danny Jimenez? I say no.
Yeah, I say no too. I mean, Trevino was really good there last year. I know the A's aren't going to get a ton of wins, but didn't Trevino just come back too?
Yeah, he gave up 4 earned runs in his return. That was on Monday or Tuesday night against the Rays. They lost to the Rays in extra innings 10-7, thanks to Trevino giving up those 4 earned runs, which I put him back in my lineup in my main event because he was back, and he immediately paid negative dividends. So that was sad for me.
Yeah, he was a guy who was decent last year. He had 22 saves. I mean, it's Oakland. It's probably going to be a rotating door of guys out there. I mean, as it is with many teams. So Danny Jimenez goes and gets the save the other day. One day it could be Trevino, one day it could be Jimenez, but I don't think I'd be dropping Trevino quite yet. I would need at least a couple weeks of him losing that job or just having really, really bad outings.
Yeah, his zone contact's exactly the same as it was last year, and so is the chase contact. It all looks pretty much like what it was last year. Nothing's really changed that I see that stands out. So, except that there's been a lot more zone swings. His Z swing's gone from 72 to 81, so there's been more attempts to swing at stuff. Also, his chase rate's gone up by 6%, so that's good too. So I wouldn't sweat it. He was also on the COVID IL for a while there. He needs to be closer worthy to be traded. And I've said this for a couple weeks, and I'm just going to stand behind it. They want to pump up his value so they could trade him.
Yeah, a 30-year-old guy that has no future with the team. And, those numbers you're mentioning, it is also 4 innings, but in 4 innings, he's got 2 saves.
It's true.
There it is. There's my guy. Little Morrison.
Oh, this brings a smile to our face here. Return on the Mac. We're going to talk about players that are on the men who will be returning for various reasons, all kinds of different reasons. They keep coming back. Got to always do that. Deary, Evan Longoria is getting closer to returning. Are you excited?
How old is Evan Longoria now? Is he like 36 years old now? Yeah, he seems to be okay when he is healthy, but he has not been healthy in a long time. I don't have him rostered anywhere, but if you're hurting, he could be a remedy.
Yeah, enjoy that. Gosh, that doesn't sound like fun at all.
I like how we lead Return of the Mac with Evan Longoria.
Yeah, Evan Longoria, it's the Giants. They get a lot out of their players, but Evan Longoria just doesn't. He'll have a stretch where he'll provide value, and you'll pick him up, and you can ride it while you need to. But other than that, I'm just not that excited about Evan Longoria. Wade Miley is getting close to going on a rehab assignment. He might actually be heading out of that rehab assignment. Again, I don't really give a shit about Wade Miley, but I understand if you're in deeper leagues, you need streamers. He's somebody that you might stream and keep an eye on. That's fine. I don't care. But I just want to put him on the list.
Yeah, he's a guy who will make some starts and eat up innings for you. I mean, he's a guy who can consistently, when healthy, can pitch 160 innings.
And then Alex Kirilloff is working his way back from that wrist issue, and he's hoping to return to the major leagues and play baseball again. This wrist thing is a problem.
Yeah. If it was anything else, I'd be a little more excited about Kirilloff. But it's really too bad because a lot of people were high on him this year, and he went to the IL early, and it's tough because this is a big prospect for Minnesota, and a lot of people saw a breakout, and season gets shortened up at the start with him going to the IL, and I'm always going to be weary when it's a wrist or a hand or an elbow for a guy who's supposed to be a power hitter. So we'll see. Yeah, can't trust it.
You definitely can't trust it. I agree. You cannot trust it. I really liked him as a talented player, but that wrist is going to continue to bother him. And the fact that the rehab assignment seems to continue, it doesn't bode well. It's not great. But if you want to think you're going to be ahead of the curve and you want to pick him up early and get a game situation where you're playing game theory, I guess. You're like, hey, I'll have this guy, and the numbers he will eventually produce will be able to benefit my squad, and I'll get him at a cheaper price because a lot of people are questioning his value right now. If you think you're ahead of the game and you know something we don't, then do your thing, but not so much. Taijuan Walker, he
pitched yesterday.
Yeah, so how'd that go?
He gave up 6 runs.
Wah, wah, wah. He is back, though, so he could do better than that. It's his first start back. And the Mets actually won that game. Bonkers comeback in the 9th inning, which I happened to catch just as I came home. It was incredible, dude. It was so awesome.
That is so fat.
I loved it. I thought it was cool as hell. I felt bad for Corey Knebel, but when Brandon Nimmo tied it up with that 2-run single, and then Starling Marte hit the go-ahead double, that's a lot of fun. The Mets team is so much fun to watch. Their offense is fun.
They are. Every year it's okay. This is the year the Mets are better because they've made all these moves, and again they've made all these moves, and man, they're off to a real hot start out there in the East.
Flawless victory.
Very cool. Okay, then Ramon Laureano. I think tonight is the night for Mr. Laureano. He's back from his suspension. He's ready to go. He's been working, doing his own spring training while he's been suspended so that he could be ready to rock when this suspension ended. And I believe tonight's the night, Deary.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see him back. This is a guy who's going to give you a little bit of pop and a little bit of speed. He's a guy who can go 15 plus in both of those categories. Remember last year when he had like 10 stolen bases in like the first 4 games, and then nothing happened.
Oh yeah, I do.
Suspended, but I mean, someone's got to play out there in Oakland. He's going to be near the top of that lineup. So if he's available, I would actually scoop him up because he can give you some value in a couple different areas.
Victory lap certified.
Yeah, that was an early victory lap. 8 steals in a couple days. That was funny. I'll never forget that moment, Deary. Nobody in fantasy will ever forget Ramon Laureano's 8 steals. But yeah, I don't think they necessarily want to pump him up to trade him either. He's a guy who's still on a contract that is serviceable for them. So don't assume that he's another guy they want to dump. But then again, it is the Oakland A's, so maybe we should just assume they want to dump everybody.
Damn!
Yeah, I know. Okay, and then Luis Castillo getting closer to returning to this garbage Reds team. Is that exciting for you?
Yeah, it's looks like he's going to come back on Monday. Yeah, he's not going to give you shit in terms of like getting wins or anything like that. But I mean, you got to remember he was so bad in the first half last year where everybody was just completely freaking out. And he really turned it around in the second half.
He did.
He got control of the walk problem he had going on. Strikeouts were a little down last year, but in the second half, they looked a lot better. And he ended up finishing the season with an ERA under 4 and threw 187 innings. I mean, he seems like a good candidate when healthy that, the Reds may trade him. I mean, by the time the Reds are good again, he'll probably be 40 years old at this point. He's 29. So they're going to certainly want to, show him out and show everybody that he's healthy to possibly ship him off. But I know a lot of people were looking for the bounce back this year, because they were encouraged of second half's numbers. And a lot of people are excited because he's been sitting on your bench for about a month and a half here. So get ready for the Luis Castillo return.
What you got here, that's worth living for.
So not being on the Reds, unfortunately. Then Yohan Moncada is on the brink of returning here. He'll pop in. So that's fun. I've never been more despondent about Yohan Moncada, who's a passionate.
He's your guy.
Love him. But I've never been more despondent. So I'm really hoping he kind of comes on the scene and sparks this White Sox team. That's my goal. That's my dream, Deary. We can all dream, but I don't know.
Too soon?
Might be too soon. Yeah, who knows? And then also Sonny Gray. He was supposed to actually pitch this weekend, and I was going to put him in my lineups, expecting him to make his return to the Twins, but he did one more rehab start, so he should be back next week. So maybe that ends up being a two-stepper. Who could say for sure? And then Teoscar Hernandez, Deary. He's back. He's ready to go. That's a boon for this Toronto Blue Jays team. Isn't that great news?
Oh, does that mean Ramel Tapia can now be dropped?
Yeah, I got Bradley Zimmer on some 15-teamers, some DCs, and I seem to have him still on a few rosters. He just does not belong, especially with Teoscar Hernandez being activated. There's just no need for Bradley Zimmer. It sucks. So.
I agree.
And they mixed up both of them, Tapia and Zimmer, while Teoscar was out, just causing chaos and confusion for everybody and uncertainty. But the Blue Jays are hanging tough. They're doing their thing. So good for them. All right, there you go. Some Return of the Mac for you, live on the Plazo Podcast. I'm Michael Govier, MJ Govier on Twitter. He's Christopher Deary, C. Deary 1999. Deary is dearly beloved. All right, let's get into the main course, Deary. Let's just get into it. It's time to talk about, is it too soon?
Too soon?
It's always too soon. Let's talk about drops. Is it too soon to drop, guys? Deary, who do you got? Who do you want to talk about?
Let's lead off with Whit Merrifield here. So the bad of Whit Merrifield, spent 151. He only has 4 runs, 5 RBIs, a 198 OBP, Sprint speed is down. But how do you measure that when he hasn't been able to get on base at all or, hit doubles at all? So he hasn't been able to do anything. He's been huge disappointment. A lot of people thought that speed was going to go away last year, and he ended up with over 30 stolen bases last year. But looking at some of the underlying numbers with Witt is I don't think he's droppable in any of your leagues, but I also don't think you should trade him either, because looking, deeper into this, he's got the best hard hit rate of his career so far. He's only struck out 13 times in 101 plate appearances, which is really good. His expected batting average is 257, so that's 100 points higher than what his actual batting average is. And look back to historically what he does in April. April has always been his worst month, historically within his career as a batter. So I think it's going to start to turn around here. We are now in May. So I think Whit Merrifield is a guy that I think you can certainly buy low on right now as well. And I think it's going to turn around here. I don't think he steals 30 bases, especially with that sprint speed being down a little bit, and he is getting a little older. But I think at some point he is going to start giving you some better statistics.
Well, if he's not stealing bags, then that's not good, right?
Well, I don't think he's going to steal 30, but he can certainly still get you to 20 bags, which you will take.
Okay, yeah.
Look who knows so much, huh?
Okay, if Whit Merrifield doesn't steal bags, it just tarnishes his value for me. I'm going to go with too soon. Too soon?
Too soon?
On Joey Votto. Is it too soon to drop Joey Votto? He's on the COVID IL right now, but even before that, there's already a conspiracy theory brewing that he was put on the COVID IL because he was so bad that they just wanted to give him a break. And the COVID IL is so easily manipulated because you don't even have to have COVID. It could just be a situation where it's like, I don't feel good. Or he's got sniffles. Let's put him on the COVID IL. So, it's a dubious IL at best. Oh, also, Anthony's here. What's up, Anthony? Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to Anthony, Kansas City Moose Master. Whit will pep up with the weather and a new ball. Of course, there's always a new ball right around the corner, Deary. He is right about that. He also says, but he's not as good as we thought. Wow. And that's coming from a Kansas City guy. So, Deary, you're being validated by Mr. Kansas City. He ain't no spring chicken. So that's true. Okay. Fair enough. Anthony, thank you very much for that on the Whit Merrifield commentary. But as far as Joey Votto, Deary, I'm just not feeling it. And there's been a lot of talk in the Discord, even the Palazzo Podcast Discord, which you guys can all join, 2Ls2Zs.
Give me two.
That he doesn't seem to look like himself anymore. There's been power outages. There's been first half struggles. But his soft hit and hard hit percentage are 22 and 20%. I guess that's closer to Ben Revere. Remember Ben Revere?
I do remember Ben Revere.
You think Ben Revere and Joey Votto? Yeah, I don't feel like it's not who you want to be. By the way, this is from a Fangraphs article written by Dan Szymborski. Shout out to Dan. Thanks, Dan. So I'm commentating and basically sharing the stats that he put together from his own research. But that's the bottom line. He just doesn't have the same pop, and he's not hitting the ball as hard. But what if he was injured? What if there was something going on? And what if he was trying to tough it out? And the Reds suck so bad, as we've said like 10 times on the show. We're not trying to harp on you, Cincinnati fans. Seriously, we're not trying to just gang up on you, but I don't know. I mean, he used to be one of the best fastball hitters in the biz. And if he struggles with the fastball now, that's a big red flag to me. But there's also this ball that doesn't pop either, so I don't know. I think in 12-teamers, you're dropping Joey Votto. I tried to drop him in a 12-teamer the other day, Deary, for the first time. I'm like, there's other options. I put Juan Yepez in my home league. That's a 14-team league, head-to-head Cats. But Votto's on my IL. I haven't dropped him. I put him on the IL because he's on the COVID IL. And Juan Yepez has stepped in.
It's like what's been concerning is, he's always had an amazing eye, and, his walk rate was looking pretty good through 90 plate appearances. But what's really become a, sad trend to see over the last couple of years here is that strikeout rate. It's sitting at 32% this year in those 90 plate appearances. That is way, way above what his career average is, which is 18%.
Mm-hmm. But last year was 23, wasn't it?
It was 23 last year, and people talked, he was off to a slow start last year. Everyone's like, okay, what's Votto going to give you if, he can't bat 300 anymore and he can't put the ball out of the ballpark? And then he just went on this amazing run and ended up with 36 home runs, the most he had in 4 years. But this year it's just been nothing. No home runs during this time. I don't know what you do with him. I think 15 teamers. I think you just wait and see. 12 teamers. He's probably droppable.
Yeah. One of the Anthony wants to know, Deary, what is that display behind glass in your background?
What? Oh, we got a couple of things here. Let's see. We got what slide are we looking at? Oh, we got some at the top there. Those are all the Tigers World Series tickets. They're not real tickets.
Oh.
And then below that is all the Yankees ones. And then of course we have Charles Woodson, and then we have the Fab Five, and then there's some like other Yankee stuff down there.
Very cool. Look at that.
You recognize this person?
I do.
That's my wife.
Wow.
When she was like 4.
What a cutie. Look at that. That's funny. I've never seen that picture.
Oh, I also got this.
Oh, yeah. NCAA, the last edition of NCAA football. All of us who still play that game every single year, we know the drill with that one. Sweet. Anthony says sweet. He loves it. Thank you, Deary, for that little presentation. Very lovely. Good stuff there. Larry says the Reds are great. Just ask Rowdy. Yeah, well, the Reds are great for people like Rowdy Tellez and the Brewers. Brewers are 18-8. They keep beating up on the Reds and the Pirates all season. They're going to easily make the playoffs. So.
Yeah, they're going to run away with that division.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right. The Cardinals will battle a bit, but they are the best team, and they should be the best team in the NL Central. All right, so let's go back to you, Deary. Last thing I want to say, though, about Votto is that he did change his approach in 2021 to strike out more because he wanted to sell out for power, because that's how the game was played today. So when his K percentage went up to 23% last year, that's cool. That's fine. But when it's going up 30-plus now, he doesn't want it to be that bad. So the truth is, if you're the person who rolls the dice and expects Votto to get it together, then you'll end up looking like a wizard. But you can't tell me there's a reason to expect that right now, other than he's a good player once upon a time. So who else, Deary? Who else is it too soon to drop?
Yeah, I think it's too soon to drop Franmil Reyes. Franmil Reyes had a really, really big season last year with power. He had 30 home runs, 85 RBIs, and he actually ended up spending some time on the IL last year. In 115 games, 466 plate appearances, he had 30 home runs. He was on pace for 40-plus, and then he got hurt. This year, he's been absolutely atrocious. 44% strikeout rate with a walk rate of only 3. His career walk rate is 9%, so I feel like that's going to get better. But the problem is, it's been the power outage. He only has 2 home runs, and he's been unbelievably bad against fastballs so far. Obviously, it's been hard for a lot of guys to hit home runs. We got the ball factor, we got the weather factor. Of course, there's talk of a new ball coming, which that's going to happen a lot, and it's
every day
going to warm up here. His launch angle is actually up. It's actually at his career best, and his exit velocity has been fine. He also went 3 for 4 last night. So again, similar to Witt, I think when it starts warming up here, I think he's a guy who still has some of the biggest pop in the game and still has the potential to hit 30-plus home runs. So I think they're going to come in bunches similar to what they did last year. So he's a certainly big-time buy low guy. I don't think you're dropping him yet because the power is just too good.
You treated me like I was soft, man. You treated me like I was spineless.
Well, hey, if you're not hitting the ball hard, then you're hitting it soft. That's just what it is. Hard contact, medium contact, soft contact. It's all different. Another too soon to drop, to pull the plug on. Well, Bobby Dahlbeck. Bobby Dahlbeck is not playing well at all. In case you didn't know, I haven't rostered him anywhere, but it's worth mentioning that he's struggling. 147, 217, 227 triple stash line. What do you think of that? Isn't that is stunning. So
yeah, it's bad when you bring up Franchi Cordero, and Franchi Cordero starts in 2 straight games at first base.
Right, which was very curious. Good call, Deary. I've said that Tristan Casas will come up and replace Dahlbeck, but Franchi coming in, if he can get it done and play first base, that's great. Because right now, Dahlbeck has a 29 WRC plus. It's in 83 plate appearances. I know it's not a huge sample, but it's really, really bad. And they're in a really, really competitive division. So they don't have time to have guys that are going to drag down the offense so much. That's why they brought up Jarren Duran. We didn't even mention that. Jarren Duran is up for the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. He is return of the Mac. He's back in business there. Definitely worth picking up. Duran has speed and a little bit of pop, and if he can start hitting it all, he will play regularly. So Duran has value.
It also looks like Duran is going to lead off today, too.
Wow, dude.
Wow, dude.
See, that's what I'm talking
Red
about.
Sox have been really weird so far. I mean, obviously their bullpen is just hilarious.
It is very hilarious. Anthony in the live chat says, Royce Lewis, the Hall of Fame career starts tonight. Well, yeah, if you didn't catch the first part of the show, yeah, we already agreed. We're in. Let's do it. Hall of Fame season starts now. Anthony wants to know, you guys going to do a Fab show on Sunday night? It's going to be a crazy Fab this Sunday. I really don't know. Might have to drive down to Georgia after the show, Frank. I don't even know what's going to happen. So who knows? We would love to. We'd love to do it, Anthony. But I got World War V going on, so trying to do the best to maintain. If I can do it, we'll do it. All right, you want to do one more, Deary? One more guy that you don't want to drop yet? It's just, it's
Too soon?
Yeah, it's too soon to give up on Ketel Marte. And the good things is he's hitting 5 straight games. He's been okay against the off-speed stuff. It's similar to Franmil. He's having a hard time hitting, fastballs. He's a career 90% batted ball inside the strike zone. It's at 80% right now. So I think that's going to get better. 34% of his swings are at pitches outside of the zone. So he's not showing any patience at the plate. I think he's just pressing a bit. This could be a thing where maybe the spring training shortage is something that affected him. But June has always been his best month. I was looking into this. He's batted 350 in 2019 and 2021 in June. So maybe we have to wait till June before it really starts to pick up. But, it's encouraging that he's been pretty good here over the last 5-6 games. And also, like you said the other day, the Diamondbacks have been competitive. So I think those numbers are going to tick back up for Ketel Marte. He's a guy who can bat, 300 and give you a little bit of pop as well. So don't give up on Ketel.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up. Mike Gaynor in the live chat wants to know, am I the only one who still believes in Duvall? You might be. There's always Duvall truthers out there. I've never been one of them. He defies the odds. I can't believe he won a Gold Glove, too. This is the kind of guy I look at, and I'm like, how does this guy do what he does? He just seems so benign and vanilla and ineffective. But, man, this guy gets it done. So, Duvall's going to play at times, and, the Braves need him. They kind of need him now. So he might get an opportunity to really take off. Even though Acuna came back, their outfield has been shit.
Yeah, I mean, I had heard that he had won a Gold Glove as well, and I was like, "What, really?" And then I was watching a game him in center field the other day, and I saw why. He made this great run on a ball that was going to the warning track, and I don't think he's the speediest player, but he just takes good lines on the ball, and obviously, you got to have a guy in the outfield that's going to be able to help you out with Acuna in right field, who has come back, but you got to have a stalwart out there in center. And Duvall was an amazing pickup last year. Ended up with 38 home runs. He's got 1 right now, which is just not very good.
Yeah, Duvall can do what he does, and he definitely has a place on a team that if he starts smashing home runs, he'll go on a tear, absolute tear, and he'll smack the shit out of the ball. So even though I'm not a fan of his, and he just looks like all the reasons I avoid players on the surface, his stats, they show a guy who gets the job done. So I need to have more respect for Adam Duvall, and I'm going to work on that. I'm going to try better. I'm going to do better. This is the Plazo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Utah.
We're live here. Christopher Deary, Michael Govier, MJ Govier, C Deary 1999 on Twitter. All right, let's talk about, is it too soon to sell high?
Too soon?
Deary, are you going to sell high on this person or not? And tell us why.
Oh, are you giving me a person, or am I giving you a person?
You're giving me a. You got a name right there, ready to go.
Yeah, sell Eric Hosmer if you can. This guy's batting 378. He has a career best walk percentage, 46% pull rate. Everybody just needs to shift on this guy better because he's pulling everything. He also has a 58% ground ball rate, yet he's batting 378. So it's really, really wild. How is this sustainable? Well, look at his BABIP. His BABIP is 424. Is he playing against the Tigers defense where they just can't reach any of the balls that he's hitting? I think this is just extreme luck of what's happening. His exit velocity right now is actually the worst it's been in 5 years. And it's what we've talked about for the last couple of years is he has that super low launch angle. So he's not really going to give you much power. I don't think he ends up hitting 15 home runs. And I also don't think he ends up batting 300. If you can get off of Eric Hosmer right now and sell him off to somebody, please go ahead and do so because it is going to fall apart soon.
Okay, I love Eric Hosmer. What he's done, he's definitely been a nice boost to anybody who's picked him up. And the stats he's produced so far, they're real. They exist. So I've been saying it's a good Hosmer year. This might be a season where he just has the good Hosmer year. He's done it before. He's on, he's off. This 2022 could be a good Hosmer year. That's what I've been saying. I'm going to stick with it. Hosmer Hall of Fame, according to Robbie Baseball. Robbie Baseball does the Dingers podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Dingers pod if you play Dynasty. You don't want to miss out on what they have to offer. They know Dynasty Baseball. JHook703 says, I have a hitter that's hitting 250, so I'm assuming I should be selling high. Yeah, exactly. Sell high on that 250 batting average while you can, JHook. Jared says, who is buying Hosmer? I think some people, look, on the surface, don't assume, Jared, you might be a smarter player than others, but there's other players who like what they see. Hosmer's had good years. He's not a shit player. I mean, he was able to secure that massive contract from the Padres. So he has the ability.
You also got to remember, not everybody that you play in a league with is going to be amazing at fantasy. I played in a league last year where Kyle Tucker was dropped in the first month. So use guys like Eric to fleece people. I mean, so there's a lot of public leagues out there, even home leagues, where there's people that just don't have as much time as maybe we have to do some of this. So that's where you can sell Eric Hosmer.
Good on you, Deary. I think that's well said. It's important to recognize that. All right. So a guy, should I sell high on, or is it too soon? I say it's too soon. I'm taking the other approach here. Too soon to sell high on Tommy Hedman. I like what he's doing. He's got 13 walks to 10 strikeouts. You just don't see that in today's game. That's impressive. And I don't think it's a fluke. I really don't. What he does right now, he puts the ball in play. He can hit it with some pop. His barrels percentage isn't elite or anything. He's got a 7% barrel percentage. Career 4, so it's up a little bit. The hard hit rate's still under 40%, so that doesn't blow you away. But I watch him play. I watch his at-bats, and I've watched several of his at-bats this season. And he's patient, and he waits for his pitch, and he's not gonna be a Miguel Sano or a Jorge Soler or even a Patrick Wisdom, who is absolutely crushing the shit out of the ball. They got like a 54% hard hit rate. It's insane.
Yeah.
But he just the kind of guy who's going to get the job done. He's going to hit the top of the lineup, a leadoff hitter. I want plate appearances. I want opportunities. And I know he's been a divisive name within the fantasy community between guys like John L. and I think Fish, Johnny Fish and Johnny L. had a big to-do about it. Shout out to you guys. Love both of you guys, but I don't know what the debate was about. All I know is that even though Edman has a 56.2% ground ball rate, I don't think I'm going to pull the plug, Deary.
God, it's a perplexing player. He's someone that I'm always off of all the time. And I think there was even chatter on our podcast of him maybe losing that job to Nolan Gorman at some point. But I think you hold on to him. I think you hold on to him. I think maybe, if these numbers continue throughout the year, I mean, I think you might be upset that you got rid of him.
By the way, he has a absurd, this is a stat I always like to look at once in a while. His infield fly ball pop-up rate is 25%, which is
holy shit,
off the charts. It's off the charts absurd. I mean, last year his was 6%. He's still producing despite that. So if those pop-ups come down, imagine what else he could do. That's a big stat to me. To me, it's just as important as the ground ball debate here. He's got a really high ground ball rate, but he's also got a really high infield pop-up rate, which will come down. It's just too high for his career norm of 6 to 8%. So, right now, both of those numbers could balance this out, and he's still a quality player. Plus, if he steals 30 bags, that's something that you want on your squad. Even with stolen bases being up this year, there's still guys that I have that are killing me. Deary and me both showed you teams that we have where we have, 4 steals total. So they're not that easy to come by still. All right, Deary, who else you got here? Who else you want to sell high on, or you want to wait?
I want to talk about Alec Baum, but I don't know which way I want to go with him, because I think in certain leagues he probably could be a sell high. If it's a roto league where Baum's probably not going to give you 20 home runs and he's not going to steal many bases for you. He's got 1 steal right now. I think he could be sellable in a roto league, because right now he's batting 304, which has looked really nice. I think in head-to-head leagues you might be buying in on him because of that average being pretty good. But yeah, I mean, this is someone who, seems to have started to figure it out. He's got his career best K rate. It's down to 17%. He's batting over 300, like I mentioned. He's actually on pace for 98 RBIs, which is absolutely beautiful. The guy has always stung the ball, but his launch angle has never been that great. So he just hits these really good line drives, but he's doesn't hit the ball into the air. His launch angle goes up to 8% this year, so that's higher than it's ever been. I obviously love the lineup. He's never hit more than 14 home runs at any level, but sometimes power takes some time to develop. And if that fly ball rate can get up a little bit, his swinging strike rate has been the highest of his career so far. So it seems like he's swinging out of his shoes a little bit, but when he makes contact, it's been really, really good. Exit velocity hasn't been amazing, but the max exit velocity is okay. So I think he's a guy who certainly has the ability to bat, 280, 290. But when I was extrapolating out those statistics, 98 RBIs is really, really good. You're not going to get that from many guys out there on your team. So I think in certain leagues, maybe you could sell him, like in a roto league. But I think in a head-to-head league, you may be holding on to him, especially if you're getting stolen bases from somewhere else.
Yeah, I love Bohm coming into the season. I was actually buying into it, and he's been able to put the ball in play and hit for a decent average. The OPS is down. It's not elite. It's not special. 127 WRC plus. I'll take that. That's solid. He was hitting second too. So if he's up in that lineup in front of guys like Harper and Castellanos, that's also a boost to his opportunities and to score more runs. They will drive him in. I think I'm holding on him. I think you make a good case there to hold for now. But
yeah, they moved him up in the last couple of games. He batted leadoff on Wednesday, and then he batted second before that. To start the season, he was much further down in the lineup. He was batting, more like sixth or seventh. They finally moved down Rhys Hoskins, who's off to a really poor start. But you got Schwarber leading off. But when you got Harper, Castellanos, and Real Muto hitting behind you, that's really, really nice. I like that.
Robbie Baseball says, "What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Deary's 3-0. Govier's 2-1. Lost week 1 to Chris. So far in the 30-team contracts dynasty, and both of you are in position to get another win this week. Yay, look at us. Woo-hoo, yippee. Thanks, Robbie. That league it's so strange because, you don't do much. You have a 25-man roster or 26-man roster, and it's just not, you don't do as much because you're not picking guys up and adding constantly because it's not it's much more realistic. It's pretty wild, but it's cool. I like it. Jamie says, someone dropped J-Rod, Julio Rodriguez, and he missed out on that. So I know what you're talking about, people dropping players. Yeah, see, exactly. Tucker gets dropped. Julio Rodriguez gets dropped. It happens. For me, Deary, on selling high. Now, this is tough because there's so many guys that I wanted to look at, and I wanted to pick guys that people were asking me about a lot, and you already hit one of them with Ketel Marte. He's been one that's been asked about a lot, so I appreciate you bringing him up. Another guy that I would like to discuss here is Nathaniel Lowe, also known as Nate Lowe, also known as the first baseman for the Rangers. Now, his slash line is 293, 350, 370. Whatever, 1 home run this year, 8 walks to 21 strikeout ratio. That's par for the course these days. But I think there's more there. So in this case, I think what you're doing is actually selling on a guy now that people might see as a buy low opportunity. And I'm twisting it up a bit. So, let me play my game here. I'm just doing something stupid, having some fun with it. But I don't think that Nate Lowe is that good. And that's my bottom line here. So if somebody sees a guy who's hitting 300, if they see a 300 average, right now, that actually looks pretty tasty. Mm-hmm. I think you need to try to get rid of Nate Lowe while you can and move on from him, because the park they play in now is already more pitcher friendly in Texas, Globe Life Field. And the Rangers offense, it sucks. I want to load up on those Astros pitchers in that rotation and take it, and the Seattle Mariners as well, because I think you can feast on the A's and the Rangers by midseason, by July, by August. They have nothing to play for this year, and their offenses are going to be worse than the other offenses in that AL West. So, if somebody thinks Nate Lowe is worth buying right now, I would try to sell him if I could. That's what I say.
Yeah, it's almost like you need him to have like a 2 home run game with like 5 or 6 RBIs to make some of these stats look better. I mean, in 100 plate appearances, 1 home run, 8 runs, 9 RBIs, no stolen bases. I mean, so someone's just buying a 293 average on a shit team that hasn't been doing anything. No one has done anything over there in Texas so far.
No, you're right about that. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, let's move into stashing. So stashing is everything, especially with all the studs that have been called up here. Is it too soon to be stashing certain guys like Nick Prado, Deary, of the Kansas City Royals? They already called up MJ Melendez. He's been up this week. He's got a nice stroke, a nice lefty stroke, too. I watched his at-bats. I already like this guy a lot. I'm big into him after I saw a couple of his at-bats. And I know that our Kansas City Moose main man, Anthony Gialdi, our Palazzo podcaster on the scene in Kansas City, agrees with me. But Nick Prado, stash?
Yeah, I mean, who would you rather go with at first base? Ryan Hearn? Nope. Carlos Santana, which I think it's over for Santana. So
He's on the IL.
I know, and he's on the IL. I know Dozier has the ability to play first base as well. But I like Nick Prado. I mean, this is a big-time prospect for them. He's got a little bit of speed. He's got really, really nice power. He can also play the outfield. His K rate is high, but he has a really good eye. And he's got a great home run fly ball rate right now. I think we're going to see Nick Prado here come June.
Really? Okay. I know that they got so many options. Vinny Pasquantino is getting a ton of hype, too. A lot of people love Vinny in KC. So I don't disagree necessarily, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pasquantino is actually the guy who gets the next call. But Prado was already part of the preseason buzz with Melendez, right? Mm-hmm. So it would make sense that he would get the call.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Santana being on the DL, and, we've already seen Melendez, which he's looked pretty good through a couple games. He's stung the ball pretty hard. He's gotten a couple hits, and, I look at these teams like the Royals. Obviously we're Tiger fans, and we are in a division with the Royals and the Twins that are two kind of, middling teams. Twins are playing a lot better this year, and they're bringing up prospects, and their prospects are coming up and already looking really, really good. So it makes me really fearful for the Tigers over the next few years if the prospects the Tigers have don't hit, and if they keep guys in their team like Jmar Candelario and Jonathan Scope and all the other bums they got out there.
Okay, Anthony says Prado's on the 40-man, so he may be up soon. There you go. That's verification. Well done. And also, he was on the minor league IL, but Prado is now back on the field, so that's good news. We'd like to hear that. And Vinny Pasquantino is not on the 40-man, so that's actually a bonus for Deary's point of view. And Jared says Vinny Pasquantino doesn't have the defense, apparently. Oh, wow. Okay, well, we're going to find out. That's a bummer. You can love a bat like Juan Yepez on the Cardinals and put him in. So He sucks at defense everywhere, but who cares? It's about offense. People need offense right now very badly. Stash-wise for me, now this is a shout-out to my BYB League, the Bless You Boys. A shout-out to the poet himself, who is one of our longtime league members. And his name is Jordan Walker of the Cardinals. Jordan Walker, this guy can steal a lot of bags. He's got power. I think the poet even compared him to Juan Soto. Is it too soon to stash Jordan Walker, though? He's in Double-A, and he's part of the Cardinal system, for those of you that don't know Mr. Walker. But he is playing well, but it's also likely he doesn't get a shot, Deary, until 2023. He's still 19, Deary, 19 years old. But he's in Double-A, Deary, 19. Yeah. He's 6'5", 220 already.
It's a beast of a man.
Yeah, and he's going to be 20 actually in a couple of weeks. So he's basically 20. His birthday's in May. So he's a 20-year-old, Double-A. He steals bags. Last year he stole 14 bags between low and high A. And a little bit of pop, 14 home runs too. That's good with the 15% walk rate. And he betted, he had a really high elite slash lines. His slash line at Double-A so far is 316, 438, 430. So he can hit for average. He seems to do it all, and his K rate's around 21%. Is it too soon to stash Jordan Walker? I think it is for redraft. Yeah. I think it's too soon. So I'm gonna pump the brakes on stashing him. But if you're in a keeper league, then If you got an NA slot and you're playing Yahoo, I don't begrudge you stashing Jordan Walker now. Maybe he gets a cup of coffee later this year. Who knows? It's very possible the way we're seeing rookies. But in redraft overall, I can't advise it. I just can't, Deary.
No. I mean, he's going to be 20 in a month, and you could really screw with the guy if you bring him up too quick and it completely falls apart at 20 years old. They want to give him some seasoning down there. He's a third baseman. Obviously, they got Nolan Arenado there, but if a guy can hit, they'll find a position for you.
Yep.
Nolan Gorman, when he comes up later this year, they will find a position for him.
Who else? Is it too soon, or is it time to stash, Deary?
Well, I mean, if you are in the know in terms of, you play a lot of fantasy baseball and you listen to a lot of different minor league reports, Grayson Rodriguez is going to be a superstar once we finally do see this guy in Baltimore. He's got a huge fastball, elite off-speed stuff. He's got 5 pitches, unbelievable command. He also doesn't give up the home run very much. Look for a guy like him to have a K per 9 over 10. And all the kids are starting to come up, for Baltimore, and not all of them have been spectacular, but this is a guy who I think we're going to see at some point this summer. Baltimore's not a team that's going to compete, but you bring him up this summer, and I think he's going to put some butts in the seats, and he's going to be a huge fab bid at some point when we do see him. This guy's got elite stuff, and he's going to, traject to being a superstar pitcher in this league. It's going to be a tough division that he pitches in, but I think redraft leagues, I think you can probably, pick him, scoop him up now and stash him, because you will see him, and he should be able to give you some value at some point this summer.
Listen to me.
Beautiful. That's a great call, Deary. I like it. I like it a lot. We have a comment here. What are we thinking on Badu? Akil Badu, who inspires us all. I actually think he's a hold, and I think May will be a better month. I've already seen a couple of signs here in this first week of May. It's gonna be May. That leads me to believe it's got to get better, too, because he can't be as bad as he's been. So I'm actually saying Badu is a hold right now. What do you think of Akil Badu at this moment?
He led off yesterday. He's back to number 9 tonight in the order, but he led off yesterday. I think he got on a couple times. I think it's a hold. It's been a mess in Detroit. They just cannot score runs. I think
Go Tigers.
The deadened ball and the poor weather and just shitty defense. This team has no spark. This is a guy that can give you a spark. I don't think you're giving up on him too soon. I think you're giving up on him way too soon if you were to drop him. You got to remember he got off to a hot start last year, and then he fell apart for about a good month. Pitchers seemed to figure him out. And then over the last month, he heated up again. So it seems like he can make that adjustment. He's been getting some everyday run here over the past week. He only sat once in the last week here. I'd like to see him moved up in that order. Robbie Grossman generally leads off for the Tigers, but Badu got let off yesterday and got on base a couple times. So Badu's a guy I'm holding on to. He's got power, he's got speed, he's going to strike out a ton. But I feel like they got to turn the corner with him. They can't do anything else with him. He's a Rule 5 guy. It's not like they can drop him down to the minors right now.
His confidence is shattered.
I think he's going to figure it out here. I don't think it will require a trip to the minors, which is great. No trip to Toledo for you, Akil Badu. All right, Palazzo Podcast here. We're almost done with the show. Is it too soon? Is it too soon to drop
Too soon.
stash? We're talking stashes. I got one more. Is it too soon to stash Corbin Carroll? Corbin Carroll is a fine young talent in the Arizona Diamondback system, and he's 21 years old. Bats left, throws left, 5'10", 165 pounds. He's at Double-A for Arizona. He's got 5 home runs already, which is nice, with 7 steals. A walk rate that is at almost 14%. You got to like that. 160 WRC plus, always a wonderful time. Hitting for 320 average. The BABIP's at 400, but all of his BABIPs across every stop are very high. He's had high BABIP. He seems to be a high BABIP guy. So Arizona stinks, and they're going to make trades at the deadline. I know Arizona's better, like Deary said earlier in the show. I defended Arizona. They're actually better than they were last year. They really are, but they're still the last team in the AL West. They are. So that means they're going to trade and move players by the deadline. And if you want to stash Corbin Carroll now, I don't think it's too soon. But Alec Thomas might get an opportunity before Corbin Carroll does. So I put it at a high degree of risk for redraft right now to stash Corbin Carroll, but I think it's worth it. I don't think it's too soon. I don't, but I could see why people would get pissed at me and say, hey, it's too soon, Govier. But I'm saying it's not too soon. Corbin Carroll's hitting the crap out of the ball, and AA guys can make the leap, especially on teams that have nothing going on. So I don't think it's too soon. I'm sticking with it.
No, I don't think so
What did I
either.
say?
I mean, how long are they going to roll with David Peralta out there in left field? I mean, he's barely
Trade
batting
target.
over
Yep.
200. He's a guy who can give you a little bit of versatility because he's a left-handed bat. So that's kind of a trade target right there. He's certainly not a part of the future. I mean, you got Varsho in center. Varsho's not going anywhere. He's had a pretty decent start to the season. Couple swipes, couple home runs.
Oh, yeah. Varsho's been solid.
Yeah. And then you got Pavin Smith over there in right field. So I mean, yeah, Alec Thomas might be the guy you see first, but Corbin Carroll, maybe we see a little bit of him later this summer.
You never had it so good.
Yeah, J-Hook703 says, could Corbin Carroll do reverse Varsho and move from outfield to catcher? Because they should do that now. That'd be cool as hell, J-Hook, but I can't guarantee anything like that. I would love to see that. Varsho will not have catcher's eligibility much longer after this season. He doesn't catch anymore. It's over. So that's just how it is. He's an outfielder. He's a center fielder. But as long as he can provide 20-plus homer power, that's fine.
That eligibility is just beautiful to have. I mean, I focused on
yeah.
Varsho just because, okay, this guy's getting every day at bats. And I think I heard the other day there's like one guy batting over 250 for catchers this year. And it's Travis Denard.
Wow.
Like catcher's
Wow,
been
that's a wild.
Wow,
Catcher's
dude.
been a real rough spot this year.
Yeah, what a shock. All right, final. Too soon. Trades. Is it too soon to trade or not? Deary, what about Kyle Wright? Is it too soon to trade him or should you trade him now?
I actually would trade him now. I have him in a couple leagues, and I like what I've seen. And I don't think there's going to be a ton of regression, but I think this is probably the highest peak he's going to be at. He's had excellent control so far this year through his 5 starts. 85% left on base percentage. That is not sustainable for a whole season. The velocity is up, but he's also not throwing his fastball much at all. He's been relying on off-speed stuff. I think there's going to be some small regression here. Players are going to lay off some of that, off-speed stuff that he has, the slider and the curveball. I think he's going to still give you value throughout the season, but I don't know if he's going to continue to traject upwards. So I think he's a guy that I would probably try to get off of right now and trade. Maybe trade for a guy who's not doing so great, who's a starting pitcher who has a track record.
Yeah, I'm with you. I watched his last start against the Mets, and he hung some breaking balls. And, he was a top 5 pick in the 2017 draft. So he came out of Vanderbilt as should have been a more polished product, but he really, really struggled. So it shouldn't be a surprise also that he has the tools to put it together. But I'm kind of in between there. I need to see a little bit more. I'm still a little bit suspect that he can keep a consistent command because he has a great repertoire. But I don't know. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm down with that. I'm down with what you're saying. For me, too soon to trade Trent Grisham? Well, no, clearly it's not. His numbers are not great, but his walk percentage is the same as it ever was. He's just not hitting the ball with authority. He's got a 26% hard hit rate. That's brutal. That's so brutal. It can't be that bad. His career is a 36. So he's either hurt or the ball is also changed too. Hard hit rates should go down for certain players. He's not barreling anything. 2 barrels in 61 batted ball events. I don't know how you would be able to move someone now.
Yeah.
But I'm also putting it out as a reverse here, like trade for Trent Grisham. Is it too soon? No. This is actually a great time to do it as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like his K percentage is up a tad, but it's not crazy. It's at 28%. And he's just not this bad. But if you look at the Padres roster and you start to say, well, is there an opportunity for him to lose playing time? He was also a key part of that Luis Urias trade with the Brewers. Okay, so they want Grisham to succeed. They're not going to abandon him yet. But AJ Preller also needs to win in San Diego. And San Diego's off to a great start. They're like 16-8 last I checked. So they're in the mix. They're a legit team. And Trent Grisham hits leadoff still. So I think it's actually time to trade for Trent Grisham. Even though the stats don't look good, he can hit the ball harder. He will. He's still getting on base with the walk percentage, like I said. So I think it's not too soon. I think this is actually a great time to trade for Trent Grisham.
Yeah, it's always a lot harder to, talk yourself into buying a guy who's not performing right now. It's hard to do that. It's a lot easier to go and, trade for a guy who is doing really well, like a Kyle Wright. But, moves like this, savvy moves like this, where you can get a guy right before he gets hot. And this is why you got to look at those underlying numbers. You got to look at where he's batting the lineup. If he's leading off for a team that's really, really good, that's going to help him out. And you got to feel like he's got the track record where it's going to bounce back here. So I think that's a good move to try to trade for him right now.
That's a good move. Yeah.
That's a good move.
All right, what else? One more, Deary. Give me one more. To trade or not to trade? That is the question.
I want to talk about Trevor Story. I think it's probably hard to trade him right now because I don't know what you're getting back in return for a guy that was, considered the top 5 shortstop at the start of the year. He's got no home runs. He has 1 stolen base so far. His hard hit rate is down. Some of the things that are looking good is exit velocity and max EV is right on par. He's still using all fields. His launch angle is actually up. He's just having trouble with the fastball. Like several guys that I've talked about, we got to remember he missed spring training. He missed the first week of the season as well. So it's going to take him a while to get back up. The fear that everybody had with him, leaving Coors is that he hit a majority of his home runs in Coors. I was looking back into this. From 2016 to 2019, he hit the same amount of home runs on the road every single year. He hit 11 home runs on the road every single year for 4 straight years. Which seems really wild that happened. I feel like it's gonna come back around here soon. Boston and Fenway Park is still a top 5 park to hit in. He's a guy who can use that short porch in right field because he can hit to all fields, and he should be able to pull the ball right and bang it right off the monster over there. So I feel like it's going to come around. What really worries me is that the stolen bases aren't going to come back. His sprint speed is way, way down. So I don't think he's a guy. It may not be a guy that you see 20-25 stolen bases again, which this could turn into a real bad contract for Boston. He's 29. They signed him to a 6-year deal, but I think you can go out and get Trevor Story, maybe get a couple guys, that are performing well that you don't believe will continue throughout the whole season, and go out there and scoop up Trevor Story. He's going to give you second base and shortstop eligibility. I believe he's a better player than what he's performing at right now. Still going to bat near the top of a pretty good Boston lineup with who's going to bat behind him. So I think you can go out and scoop up Trevor Story, and I think he's going to be able to help you out.
Yeah, Trevor Story is way better than this, and they gave him the contract, and he'll get it going. But he might not ever be the guy that he was in
Coors.
He just won't, because Coors is a special place to hit, and it always will be. However, my final guy here, is it too soon to trade or not? Or is it too soon to trade for that person? That's the question, right?
Too soon?
How about Matt Chapman? Matt Chapman is in a great lineup. Plays for a great team, the Toronto Blue Jays. And he's basically hitting 5th on the regular. I know Teoscar's been out, so he might get bumped down to 6th with Teoscar coming back. That's very possible. In fact, likely. But Matt Chapman, I was actually offered a trade. I have Chapman in my home league the other day. It was Tyler McGill. Good old Tyler McGill, Deary, for Matt Chapman, straight up. And I turned it down. I didn't.
Okay.
Chapman has a lot of pop in that bat still. And I still think this is an easy 30 home run season. He's hitting 50, almost 51% hard hit rate. He's crushing the ball, okay? He's got a 10% barrel rate already. The problem is, maybe he's popping up too much. The launch angle is even higher. It's at 22.5 on average. So maybe he's got to find a little bit more of that balance of that 10 to 30. But he's killing the baseball, like I said, with one of the highest hard hit rates in baseball. So I think it's not too soon to go get him. In fact, this is a good spot because he's not quite performing with the stat line that's like, hey, look at me, you want me. So there might be somebody out there says, hey, I'm not feeling it. I didn't succumb to a trade offer, but, the Tyler McGill stat line, he looks pretty damn good. He looks like an elite pitcher that's on the come here, on the brink of a breakout. But that same day I was offered that trade, I was waiting it out while he was starting. It was on Wednesday. And then he gave up a few runs in that start against Atlanta. His stat line came down a little bit. And there are walk concerns with McGill. There's big-time walk concerns. So I think, you know what? This is a head-to-head Cats league where hitters rule, and I can stream a lot of pitchers. Yeah. So I'm not going to give up on Matt Chapman to take McGill, even though pitching is a need of mine. Because he still has more value. You have to see the big picture value. So it's too soon to trade him away, but it's not too soon to go get him. I think Matt Chapman's someone you want to have on your roster. He's not going to hit 300. We all know that, but nobody hits 300 these days. If he's a 250 hitter at best who can give you 30, 35 home runs, maybe drive in triple 100-plus runs in that lineup in Toronto. Let's think ahead here. Right now, everything sucks and offense is shit, Deary. But, by July or so, that Toronto offense should be cruising along, just kicking ass, and Matt Chapman's going to be a part of that. So it's not too soon to get Matt Chapman.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, extrapolate his numbers out, and he's going to have 90 RBIs and, close to 75, 80 runs and 30 home runs. Sure, he's going to bat probably anywhere from 220 to 230. He sits at 211 right now, but I feel like a little bit of that might be unlucky, because he's smoking the ball when he does hit it, that hard hit rate that you talked about, and that launch angle's up even higher. So better days are coming along for him. He's going to get every day. Like, no matter how bad he plays offensively, they're not going to sit him. They might drop him in the order because that's a gold glove third baseman that they want in the lineup.
Yep. I'm with you, dude. There it is. Okay. Matt Chapman, get him in your lineup.
And that's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
Not me. Matt Chapman's going to stay on my team. That's the Plaza Podcast for today. 2 L's.
Utah.
2 Z's.
Give me 2.
Let's thank Christopher Deary for a great performance today. See Deary1999 on Twitter. Follow him. Connect with me, MJ Govier, G-O-V as in Victor, I-E-R, and the Palazzo Podcast Discord. I put the link in the live chat. It's also on the Twitter handle at the top of the Palazzo Podcast Twitter feed. You can find it there along with the Patreon if you want to sign up. Only as little as $3. It'd be really nice. We would appreciate your support. 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. 5-star review on Spotify. If you love the show, support it. We would be grateful for that. We will support you. We will keep giving you whatever we can give you. You want it? We'll give it to you here on the Palazzo Podcast. Right, Deary?
You wanted the best. We are the best. I don't know.
That's good. That's great. So there it is. Thanks so much. I hope you have a good weekend. A lot of postponements today, so be wary of that in your lineups. I think there's already 4 now, at least 4. Our Tigers would be postponed if they were playing here. They're playing in Houston, so we don't have to worry about that. Thanks, everybody. Love the show. You guys are the best. Those of you in the Discord, we'll see you back in there. And if you want to be a part of it, get in that Discord and start doing your thing.
Right, lads. Now, I know there's not a faint heart among you. And I know you're as anxious as I am to get into close action. But we must bring him right up beside us before we spring this trap. That will test our nerve. And discipline will count just as much as courage. The Acheron is a tough nut to crack. More than twice our guns, more than twice our numbers. And they will sell their lives dearly. They mean to take us as a prize. And we are worth more to them undamaged. Their greed will be their downfall. England is under threat of invasion. And though we be on the far side of the world, this ship is our home. This ship is England. So it's every hand to his rope or gun, quick's the word and sharp's the action. After all, surprise is on our side.